Welcome back, Nerglings. Okay, so Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army, Series 2 is here. What have we got in store for this iteration of the series? Naturally, we have more Chaos creatures, more wacky conversions, and of course, more classic miniatures. As you can see, there's a whole load of stuff that we need to get through, and I look forward to highlighting the progress I've made since the last series, way back in November 17. Feels like a lifetime ago. To be honest, it's not as much progress as I would have liked, but hey, you can't win them all, can you? So, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at another of the miniatures I'm going to be using for my Barocca army, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. And this guy is one of the most original models I own. It's a ogre from Battle Masters. Now, I first got Battle Masters, blimey, 26 years ago or 25 years ago. It was my birthday, and this is probably, I would say, the first model I ever got. I say this one. It's not this. It's not this one specifically, as the one that I actually owned back then is probably in a bits box at my parents'. But this is the same model, and I bought this one from eBay, and this has never had any paint on it. Whereas my one's been chopped up several times, painted several times, and just looks an absolute mess. So I've updated him with a newer version, and he's safely on a nice square base, and I'm going to take my time painting this fellow. He's an absolute classic, and I would say he's probably one of the better ogre sculpts, really. I mean, his face is quite unique looking, especially with the low down hat. I think they copied that sort of design for a lot of orcs and the like for sort of the mid-90s. He's got the big sort of classic ogre gut going on there as well, and yeah, he's just a nicely balanced model, I think. Yeah. So, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at more of the miniatures I'm painting for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. And today it's going to be Chaos Thugs. Now, in the last series I think I mentioned the Chaos Thugs, but I don't think I did a video about them. Do correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure. Yeah, they're quite a nice varied bunch. They're sort of a bit of everything, really. They've got sort of, some of them have got masks. So this guy's got like a skull mask on, and he's sort of itching his head, thinking what to do next. And he's got some nice trophies, little severed heads and stuff. It's just sort of a nice fun set of different miniatures. They're all kind of kooky and different. I mean, they've got like random pieces of armour on. Some have got chainmail, some have got sort of like Chaos Warrior plate armour on, and they're just sort of a goofy bunch of different miniatures. They've each sort of got their own unique style, I suppose, or maybe not their own unique style, but their own look and feel. And they're just fun little characters, really. I've actually got a few more. There's a guy with a horn that's over here, but I've sort of neglected to put him on a base as of yet. But he'll be in there eventually, and I'll try and flesh the unit out to maybe 20 or maybe even 30 strong, because they're sort of, compared to Chaos Warriors, they're quite a weak unit. So maybe they need a bit more in the way of quantity rather than quality. So that's all I've got for you today. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at another of the miniatures I'm working on for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. Now this is something a little bit different. It's a dragon. I don't have any dragons on the channel, so this is the first, and let's hope it's the last, because let's face it, when I started collecting giants that got a little bit out of hand. And as you can see, it's in a bit of a state. It came to me part painted, missing the tail, as you can see here, which is a little bit annoying, but I'm sure I can figure something out with some Milliput. If we just sort of mock it up, it's sort of supposed to look something like that. I guess a dragon doing a bit of a peekaboo sort of pose. Personally, I don't really like things with wings, but I thought this could be a one-off. You know, it's a fun model, and for crying out loud, it's called the Nightmare Dragon. That's so cool that I just had to have one. And for the price that it was, I think it was only about £15 or something like that, which is a pretty good price for an old school sort of dragon. I thought I'd better get it, and it gives my army a little bit of variety and a little bit of flying firepower. As you can see, I've based him on a solid MDF 3mm thick base, so it's the same as a chariot base, and I'll be sort of working on him on and off over the next few weeks. So be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I'm going to be using for my Barocca army, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. And today it's going to be the third unit of Chaos Warriors. That's right, third unit of Chaos Warriors. So that's 60 Chaos Warriors in total. And as you can see, it's not really complete in any way, shape or form. There's one guy that's got his base done, and there's another guy, I think is it Vardenfell or something? No, Vandemar. He was previously on a hexy base, and now he's on a nice square base. As you can see, I ripped him off his old base, and he's now firmly attached to this square base, whether he likes it or not. And as per the other two units, this unit has a sorcerer or a magician. So this guy's sort of casting a nasty spell on the enemy. He's got some lovely robes, so I'm looking forward to painting him in maybe some flash colours. That would be quite cool. Make him stand out from the rank and file. And well, speaking of rank and file, so most of these guys are speciality set Chaos Warriors, so for the most part I would say about 10 or 11 of them are, and the rest are C35 from the same range, but from different parts of the range. So there's a couple from the one of the monster sets where there's two Chaos Warriors, so this one and this one. So these two are quite nice little chaps. They don't look really that Chaos Warrior-y, but they're, according to the fluff, they're Chaos Warriors, so we'll go with that. There's I think this guy is some sort of a hobgoblin or something along those lines, but he's in plate armor, so he can be a Chaos Warrior because I say so. What else have we got? We've got a couple of undead weights here. Now, there's quite a few miniatures in the C35 Chaos range that sort of could be used in conjunction with the undead ranges, and I thought well, if they can be used in conjunction with the undead ranges, then why can't I just nab a few of the C17 undead armoured skeletons and use them as Chaos Warriors? So we've got 2 undead Chaos Warriors. There we go, that's all good stuff. And then we've got one chap that's needed a weapon swap. Now, personally, I hate doing weapon swaps. I don't like miniatures becoming sort of 2-part models when they're supposed to be single piece. Unfortunately, this guy's mace really wasn't up to scratch. It was bending, and you could see sort of the fracture lines across the metal as well, and I just knew it was going to snap off. So what I've done is I cut through the bottom of the join with a scalpel blade, mainly because it's lead and it's quite soft, so I could just cut straight through it, make a nice neat and flush join ready for a new addition. So the new addition is now a hammer, so he's gone from a mace to a hammer. And what I've done is I've glued it on the hand and then on the horn as well, just to give it a couple of points of contact to give it a good strong bond. Now hopefully with a bit of paint and then some varnish on there, that will be a permanent fixture, providing I don't drop it. Yeah, there we go. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I'm going to be using for my Barocca army, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. And today is something a little bit different. I've got some flying troops for you. So these guys are harpies and birdmen. So the first one is a harpy. You can tell it's a harpy because, well, it looks like a harpy, it smells like a harpy, and if it smells like a harpy, it's definitely a harpy. So this is a harpy. Got some sort of like bone as a weapon there, which is kind of cool, and sort of a screaming face, and yeah, it looks kind of groovy. And then sort of to complement that, we've got some birdmen of some description. Now these look like grenadier, yeah, they're grenadier sculpts, so they're kind of 2D, which is quite a classic look for grenadier. I think that's just sort of the way they made a lot of their models, but they're quite nice miniatures. They're really quite old school. I mean, what have we got on there? 1984? Yeah, 1984. Not half bad really for 33 years. Oh, 34 years old this year. Crikey. This guy's got some bolas. Nice little shield with an axe with a wing on it. Yeah. It's a shame they didn't do like a Brian Blessed model or something. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, so be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at a few more of the miniatures I'm going to be using in my Barocca army, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. Now today is Centaur Day, International Centaur Day. Be sure you hashtag Centaur Day on Twitter. No, I'm bullshitting you, but anyway, these guys are pretty nice. They're a mixture of different manufacturers. So there's Citadel, there's a couple of new style Railpather and some old style Railpather models. As you can see, they're solid base, pre-slaughter, I suppose, miniatures, and they are really quite nice, I think. They've got some nice detail on them, and they're all in sort of different poses and all doing different sort of things. As you can see, this one's sort of firing his bow backwards on the hoof, I suppose, which looks kind of cool. And there's another guy sort of roaming around. I think he's looking backwards as well. They're all sort of nice and dynamic and interesting looking. This one looks absolutely awful because I don't know what the last person who owned this model was trying to do, but I'm sure I can fix it given a little bit of tender loving care. I've actually got a few more in the post. I think I've got 3 more, or was it 4 more? 3 or 4 more centaurs in the post as well. So we'll have quite a sizable unit by the time I finish with them. And really, they're a fun old school unit. I mean, you don't see centaurs roaming around in Age of Sigmar anymore. So yeah, this is sort of back to the old school. So be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at another of the miniatures I'm going to be using for my Barocca army, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. And today it's the Chaos Dwarf Arse Cannon, quite affectionately named the Arse Cannon. And well, the last time you saw this was in bits, I believe, and the guys didn't have any bases and it was just a mess, and really I needed to sort my life out and get these guys stuck onto bases and painted, but let's face it, I'm not a machine. And well, as you can see, the guys are stuck together now and they are on bases, and well, they're lovely little chaps. Really characterful, really interesting, and they're just a great addition to sort of any chaos army, really. And these guys are particularly fun. I like the guy with the fist on the end of a pole, so he can fist that cannonball down where the sun don't shine, I suppose. As you can see, the creature itself is now based on a big MDF base. I think it's a 60mm base. So whilst the guys don't sort of technically rank up with the thing, it overlaps them. I mean, the thing's so big that it doesn't really matter. They're just going to be sort of milling around it, doing their thing. Anyway, so that's pretty much all I've got for the old Arse Cannon today. And I mean, hopefully I'm going to get some paint on this thing eventually. I mean, it shouldn't take too long. It's not too big of a model and there's not too many sort of working parts. So fingers crossed we'll get this one complete maybe by the end of the month. Although don't hold me to that. In fact, forget I ever said it. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I'm going to be using for my Barocca army, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. Now, today it's Goblin Day. As you can see, there's a lovely set of goblins in front of you, and we're going to be having a look at them. Now, this is a set of, well, it's a mixture of different things. It's a speciality set, Goblin Regiment, so all of the ones that are painted with sort of, I don't know why, but for some reason somebody's gone and painted them with regular human flesh tones, which looks absolutely stark raving bonkers. We've got some random goblin marauders, I guess, over here. We've got a goblin matron, which is quite disconcerting, and actually there's a few, or by few I mean 2 gnomes in there as well. And I figured, if you're going to have a Chaos Dwarf Beastmaster or something like that, or some sort of Chaos Warrior slaver, whipping these guys to war, I don't think that the goblins are going to mind mucking in with the halflings and the gnomes. So I figured lump them all together. They're all the same anyway. They're all half men, aren't they? So sod 'em. Yeah, they can get whipped by the Beastmasters and go to war for the Lords of Chaos. Yeah, these are a fun sort of a fun group of models. I've based, as with everything, I've based it on 25mm bases, so they're kind of dwarfed, funnily enough, Dwarfed a little bit by the size of their base. Here's actually one that I have completed myself. This is my painting of a goblin. I guess he's kind of plain, but really, what more do you need from a goblin? You just need him to soak up some of the damage. I've given him some sort of a little bit of a checked pattern on the back of his quiver there, ready for his inclusion in the Rogue Trader catalogue. But yeah. Anyway, that is my regiment of sort of goblins and gnomes and what have you. So, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at one of the miniatures that I've completed for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. Now this is a lovely model. It's the old school Chaos Chariot. It's got a lovely little bloke with a whip on the top, and I've used a couple Eureka horses, so they're sort of almost like zombified horses from the Eureka Undisciplined Army set. So let's go in for a closer look. As you can see, he's on a nice sort of rectangular chariot base, and I've tried to keep the tones muted as per the rest of the army. I think I've done quite a nice job on the thing. Incidentally, the charioteer is probably one of my favourite chaos models. In fact, he actually looks a bit like a skeleton, sort of like an armoured skeleton, but I'm pretty sure he's a chaos warrior of some description. And the horses are particularly sort of gruesome. As you can see, they've got sort of like boils and things on them. It makes them look kind of gnarly. So to attach the horses to is it the hock that goes across? I think it's the hock. I made some noose type affairs with some wire. So all I did was twist a couple of pieces of wire together and then glued them in place. And it looks like they're sort of almost straining to take the weight of the chariot and to sort of drag it along whilst the Chaos Warrior whips them into action. So yeah, that's the Chaos Chariot. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at a few of the miniatures I've completed for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. Now, this is a interesting one. It's a Chaos Dwarf Beastmaster, one of the classic Beastmaster miniatures. And if we sort of zoom in on him, as you can see, he's got a lovely shield that I've stuck on, and some nice armour, sort of almost like a cute little like animal's fur helmet going on there, and he looks really quite nice. Of course, he's on a hexy base as well. Now his beast is a solid brass sort of little sculpture thing that I found in a thrift store. Now this thing only cost me £3, and it's really in quite nice nick, I think. I quite like the sort of the oxidation in it and all. So what I did is I mounted it on a MDF, or a large sort of monster size base MDF base, and then just went over it with some concrete and flock and stuff, and really it looks pretty groovy. I really like it. It's quite nice. Be sure to tell me what you think of that. I'm quite happy with it. An indestructible brass lion. Cool. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at another of the miniatures I've completed for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. And this one's a little bit of a different slant on the series, so it's a piece of scenery. Now, recently Games Workshop brought out a tree thing, and it looked sort of okay, I suppose. I mean, I wasn't really that impressed. However, what I was impressed with was the inspiration that it gave me to create my own, and this is what I've come up with. So I've created a monstrous tree thing with a mouth and some nice little mushrooms and what have you, and a few old pennies, and yeah, some bits and bobs from the garden, some chains and all that. And really, it's turned out quite nice. It's quite a creation, I would say. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. It looks kind of cool. It's got some spooky arms and stuff, and it's just generally a fun piece. It will certainly look very nice in amongst all the models when I do sort of an army photo shoot, or maybe a piece of scenery in a battle or something like that. I say battle, but you and I know that's probably never going to happen because, well, I can't be bothered to read the rules. But yeah, this is my sort of attempt at a fun and sort of different slant on what Games Workshop are doing at the moment. Yeah. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I've completed for my Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army series. Now, what have we got here? We've got a complete Minotaur. I think his name is Doomroar, if my memory serves me correctly. And he's really, well, let's face it, he's really quite nice, isn't he? Look at that chap. That is someone you do not want to be on the wrong side of. So I gave him a bit of a wash with quick varnish, or quick shade, sorry, and really he's come out very nice. I'm quite pleased with him. Hopefully I can achieve the same effects with this monstrosity that I received on eBay a few weeks ago. So what I plan on doing is redoing the skin, so a much sort of more muted tone. I'll go over the sort of the bionic bits with a bit of rust, and then I'll redo the leather, so touch up the leather a bit and pick out any of the details, so the little studs and everything, and repaint or paint over the chaos symbol on his helmet or his hat there. I think it'll turn out quite good. Unfortunately, being me, I neglected to rank these guys up before I glued them on their bases. So I just sort of thought, well, you know what, things generally rank up, don't they? Well, you would have thought so, but yeah, that's what happens if I put them that way, and this is what happens if I put them this way. Which is not a nice sound. I don't like that sound. So yeah, I'm going to have to probably buy another Minotaur to put in between them. What a shame, eh? So yeah, that is such is life. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more miniatures that I've completed for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. Now, as you can see, this is a complete unit of Chaos Warriors. If you remember back in November last year, I'd only completed 4 of these chaps. Now I had a bit of a painting spree over Christmas and I managed to get the other 16 done. So as you can see, they are all in a sort of a green effect, or sort of a green hue I suppose, except the sorcerer or the magician. So let's just have a quick look at the magician before we move on to some of the other chaps. As you can see, he's in some nice sort of colourful robes, and he's got a sort of a staff with sort of like kind of like a power effect on the top. Imagine he's going to blast someone with some evil magics. We've got I think the guy's called Vargas Soul Stealer. Vargas Soul Stealer, yeah. He's a warlord, so C35 Chaos, and basically he's just a really nice model. He's got a really cool shield, like a screaming face that I painted red, and then I gave him a nice sort of zazzy cloak as well. Very nice model. You can't really find him very often on eBay, and then when he does, he's a lot cheaper than when you bought him, so yeah, good stuff. As you can see, there's a lovely standard bearer. I believe this guy was a member of the C17 Skeleton Guild, but he also crops up in the C35 catalogue for Chaos as well. Very nice model. As always, apologies on the shininess of these chaps, but I've varnished them with quick shade and I've neglected to actually spray them with a matte varnish. What else have we got? Okay, so these 2 chaps here, so this guy and this guy, had their weapons replaced, and as you can see, I mean, I think I did a pretty decent job on them actually. The guy on the left is holding a sort of I guess a broadsword now. I managed to get it reasonably straight, and it's on there quite well as well. Hopefully that shouldn't be going anywhere. And then this guy, he's got sort of a rapier type thing going on, and it's got quite a lot of contact point along the edge of the back of the blade, so hopefully it's gonna be a permanent addition to this guy too. Fingers crossed. So that's the second complete regiment of Chaos Warriors. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I'm going to be using for my Barocca series, or Building the Realms of Chaos Army. And today it's the Arse Cannon. As you can see, it's fully painted and based, which is somewhat of a rarity for a lot of the videos that I feature in this series, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a fun model, and I took a little bit of time to sort of try and get it as good as I could make it, and I think it's turned out quite alright. So to start off with, we've got the Commander. He's a lovely little chap. I gave him sort of a nice little wash with some red in his eyes to give him sort of beady little eyes. He's got sort of slightly pink lips and slightly sort of ruddy sort of complexion, grey hair, some nice little tusks. He's wearing what I can only describe as some sort of large lizard cape, and of course he's got the good old-fashioned checks as well on his armour. So yeah, he's quite a nice little bloke. We've got the guy with the plunger, who looks rather nice. Little plunger man. Again, checks on his armour, white and black checks on the armour, and on the back there as well, as you can see. And I've given him a bit of I've done like a bit of a rust effect in the armour as well, as you can see. just to sort of bring out that sort of old sort of iron effect that I like to use. This guy's got a big fist on some sort of plunger. He's he's going to be punching that down somewhere, I imagine, or I'd like to not imagine, bearing in mind the cannon that he's going to be poking it into. Yeah, there's one of the strange cannonballs or hemorrhoids or something, I don't know. Very weird stuff. And here's the cannon in all its glory, the arse cannon. Now I went for quite a heavy sort of iron look, and made sure I got lots of sort of rust in all of the recesses and all that, and I think it worked quite well. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with the outcome, I think. Yeah, please tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd be keen to see what you think. So be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at another of the miniatures I'm using for my Barocca series, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. And today is something a bit different and a bit unique. I'm going to be featuring Ingram Van Horseman. So this is quite an old, well, it's more of a sort of a 90s model rather than a 70s or 80s model. And he was originally riding a two-headed Chaos Dragon called Bordros. And what I've decided to do was take a bit of an executive decision and mount him on something a little bit different. As you can see, it's quite a strange looking creature. It's a Dali-esque elephant with some long sort of creepy legs, and well, as you can see, some crazy eyes going on. So it's quite an interesting sort of miniature. I bent his banner pole back a little bit so it was more upright to give you an idea of what I've sort of done to him. I mounted him on the elephant and then sort of modelled around that with some milliput, and then I added a load of sort of accoutrements like severed heads and a shield there, and a strap to go underneath the elephant's stomach. And then on the other side he's got I imagine some sort of like book of spells and some sort of scrolls and syringes, and he's got like a bit of sort of I don't know, a tree or something growing out the side of the thing here, and a little sort of elf thing or sprite hopping along for the ride, and another severed head. So yeah, it's quite an interesting looking character, and of course I did a lot of check work on him as well, so he's got quite a lot of armour pieces, so I figured what I'd do is I'd try and cover him in as many check sort of patterns as possible, as you can see on the other side there as well, just to sort of really give him that old school sort of Oldhammery vibe, and hopefully he sort of looks kind of kooky, looks a bit weird, and certainly something that you wouldn't expect to see sort of moving along or on the battlefield. I would imagine it's quite a strange looking creature. So yeah, that's my version of Ingram Van Horseman. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at another of the miniatures I'm using for my Barocca series, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. And today it's the Chaos Dwarf Juggernaut. This isn't the original Chaos Dwarf Juggernaut because, let's face it, that thing is a ridiculous price on eBay. I think it it retails at something like £500 or £600, and it's just a big block of lead that no one's ever going to buy. So good luck to the seller for that one. Now this one is a resin version that I picked up from Old Glory. Not sure if that's right. I think that's probably wrong, in fact, but I can't really remember where. If I can try and find the website where I bought it, I'll link it in the description below. But it's a fab little kit. It's quite light, and it's quite big as well. So just to give you an idea of the sort of customization I've done on it, I've only done a little bit. That's the roller on the front. I wanted it to sort of look like almost like a orc battle wagon or something. I thought that might be fun, so I added an interesting roller on the front, and I tied a skull on the front as well. So this is a metal skull from an Iron Winds miniature, I believe. So old school Ralpatha, and that's quite a. I think that really makes the front of the thing pop. So yeah, it looks kind of cool. So what is the Chaos Dwarf Juggernaut? So the Chaos Dwarf Juggernaut is like a Chaos Dwarf sort of siege engine, I suppose. Basically, you want to put all your troops in the tower and inside, and then the thing rolls up to the fortress or the castle, and then the door opens over the top of the steamroller, and they can sort of assault the base or something with a battering ram or something like that. So I thought I'd I thought I'd buy one of these. So I mean, it's a quite an interesting model. It's going to be on an enormous base. I think this is about the same size as 3 chariot bases next to each other. So it's it's a big old model. To give you an idea of the scale, that's a Chaos Warrior next to it, a regular sized Chaos Warrior. So that's quite a it's quite a biggie. Now, how does this thing move? Because, well, let's face it, it doesn't have an engine or anything. It's going to be pushed and pulled by a variety of sort of slaves and demons and things. So what I've done is I've got the Eureka Miniatures Undisciplined Army, which is here, or well, a couple of them are here, and what they'll be doing is they'll be walking alongside the big old beast like that, and they're going to be some of the guys that are going to be moving this thing around. Just to give them a little bit more sort of oomph, I'm going to be using, let's see, where are they? I've got them in my pile of lead here somewhere, a couple of bound demons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue each of these onto one of the corners at the front, and they're going to be dragging the thing along with some chains. So I'm going to attach chains to some of these side sort of I guess they're like rivets or something, so I'll attach chains to the rivets, and then these guys will be pulling the thing along as well. So it'll have a variety of sort of models carting it around and bringing it to war, I suppose. I was going to put sort of a chap in the top, but I think it is probably best if I leave it open. Then I can mount any miniature I want in the top. So you know, if it's the Lord or something, the Chaos Dwarf Lord, then I can put him in the top, and that's pretty easy to do. Yeah, that's my my sort of attempt at a Chaos Dwarf Juggernaut. Big old beast, and I'm sort of looking forward to getting it finished. It's going to be quite an epic, and it'll be a nice sort of centerpiece for the army, because the army doesn't really have a centerpiece at the moment. It's got some reasonable sized monsters, so the Minotaurs and the ogres and what have you, Dragon Ogre, but doesn't really have sort of a large scale centerpiece. So I thought this might be a good opportunity to do a bit of modelling and sort of, you know, make something a little bit larger. So yeah, that's what I've gone for. Do let me know what you think of this this crazy contraption in the comments below. So to that end, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some of the miniatures I'm going to be using for my Barocca series, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. Today something a little bit different for you. So I'm going to be talking about sort of making units pop. And by pop I mean sort of give them that sort of wow factor, or that sort of, oh, I've never seen that before sort of look. So this is where I try to include miniatures or sort of something in a unit that makes it look out of the norm, or sort of a bit unusual, or a bit interesting. And this is how I do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this unit here, which is, as you can see, a unit of Chaos Knights. So they're quite nice models. They've each got sort of, you know, slightly different character. They've all got different helmets. They've certainly all got different shields. They've got different horses within reason. There's slight differences between the horses, but that's beside the point really. What I really want to do is make this unit look completely different. And by completely different, I mean have that slight little hook that makes you go wow, oh, I've never seen that before. And this is sort of my trick. My trick is to use a model that you wouldn't normally associate with this unit. For instance, this chap. So from the get-go, he's on a different horse. He's a completely different model. He's, you know, all skin and bones, and rather than an armoured knight, he's some sort of mutated chaos champion. So instantly your eyes are drawn to him. He's sort of the only one of his type, and he's different and interesting. And if we have a look at him, we'll see that he's absolutely stark raving mad. He's just a big sort of head foreskin thing with sort of a gangly body, riding a quite an illustrious looking chaos steed. And he's just completely different, completely weird, and he'll make an excellent sort of chaos champion for what would otherwise be to be honest with you, a kind of plain unit of Chaos Knights. So this guy will be sort of their leader, and just to give you sort of an idea of what he's up against, he's up against that. So together they rank up and they look pretty unique. I mean, I very much doubt that you'll ever see, you know, I mean, sure, you'll probably see a unit of 6 Chaos Knights ranked up together, but will you ever see 6 or 7 Chaos Knights led by an eyeball? Probably not. I'd like to think not, because otherwise I think I've lost it. Yeah, that's how I would personally make that unit pop. It looks weird, it looks kooky, it's certainly within the sort of realms of chaos type feel, and I think it looks kind of cool. Yeah. Okay, so how do we make a unit of centaurs pop? Now, centaurs are all they're creatures of chaos, very much like the beastmen, and they're all kind of unique in their own right. However, what I'm going to do for these guys is use this guy here. He's not quite finished yet. I need to sort of work in some of the pink a bit more onto his sort of flesh, but he's a pink horror drummer, or musician, I suppose, that I've sort of grafted onto the body of some sort of like fawn, or I don't know, I don't know what it is, maybe a deer or something. And he's completely wacky, completely out there, and he's got that sort of, I guess, that wow factor that really makes whatever unit he's attached to look really different, really interesting, and quite sort of kooky. So maybe I'd rank him up there, actually. Yeah, something like that. And yeah, something that draws the eye to the unit and makes you think, oh, that's really interesting, that's really different. Okay, so here we have a Chaos Sorcerer, and he's got a familiar, and a familiar is a completely sort of custom miniature that I built. I built him a little while ago, actually. Maybe sort of middle of last year, I would imagine. And he sort of, all he is an orc's head on I think it's a pink horrors pair of legs, and I just sort of sculpted him a bit of a bum there. And yeah, he's basically just a little familiar for this Chaos Sorcerer. Again, it's all about making something that people want to sort of take another look at. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at another of the units I'm going to be using for Barocca, or building a Realms of Chaos army. And today it's a painted unit of Chaos Warriors. They're not complete yet, there's another 10 to go. However, they're in a bit of a state currently. This is how far I've managed to get with most of them. Simply undercoated, and really nothing's happened with them yet. So yeah. But the ones I have completed, we'll have a brief look at a few of them. Now, some of these are speciality set models, so they're usually old school lead, integral base, and sort of the usual stuff that you would expect from one of my armies. They're in a variety of sort of styles and what have you, and really they look quite nice, I think. I'm going to go over with them with a wash, probably a orange wash or something like that, to bring out some sort of rust effects, and then I'll go over with a bit of a highlight as well. So I'll probably pick out some of the armour in another sort of quite light metal sort of colour, maybe a sort of a bit brighter silver or something like that. Yeah, they're quite a nice group. This is one of the miniatures that I repaired. So his mace was hanging by a thread. So what I did was I cut it, and then I glued on a new weapon for him, and I think it turned out quite nice, actually. He seems to look it looks quite neat. I think I managed to do a good job on that. Here's Vandemar. He's cropped up a couple of times on the channel in various sort of states of disrepair, I suppose. So the first time we had a look at him, I was doing an unboxing, and he had been, I think he'd been permanent markered or something. Someone had tried to permanent marker him, so I painted him and put him on a a hexy base. And now I've realised that I kind of need him for my Chaos army, so I need to rebase him. So I thought, you know what, I'll tear him off that and I'll put him on a square base. So yeah, he's been through the wars, but he's made it out alive. Vandemar, yes. And we have one of the armoured skeletons, although really he's a caped skeleton. You know, most of his bones are actually kind of exposed, but a nice model, and I think he sort of, maybe he'll just about pass for a Chaos Warrior if you don't look too carefully. Maybe I'll put him in one of the back ranks or something. There we go. So that's a half unit of Chaos Warriors complete. Hopefully I'll be able to get the other 10 done rather soon, and then we'll have 3 units of 20 Chaos Warriors. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I'm going to be using for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. And today it's more Chaos Warriors. Funny old thing that. Now these guys are a mixture of, I believe, some sort of hobgoblins, some Chaos Warriors, and some, I think they're armoured orcs as well. And there's also an Essex miniature sorcerer in there as well, which is this guy. He's quite a nice sort of looking chap. He's got a nicely sculpted face there, and as you can see, I've mounted him down into his hollow base, so I can build up all of the flock around his integral base and make it sort of looking like it's one piece. As you can see, I've got some, let's see, armoured orcs. Yeah, I mean, to me he looks more sort of like a Chaos Warrior. He's got a nice mace, and he doesn't really have any sort of orc-like features, I don't think. So I think they'll make a nice sort of unit of Chaos Warriors, really. Now this guy's sort of got a bit more of an orc-like face, I suppose. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint him with a sort of necrotic flesh kind of skin tone, so it just looks like he's sort of maybe a deformed human or something like that. And there's a hobgoblin, I think it's a hobgoblin from one of the speciality sets, actually. And again, I'm going to paint him with a sort of a kind of ill, or sort of maybe a diseased sort of look about him. Now the Chaos Warriors that I've got are these guys, which are quite nice looking models, really. Kind of dynamic. I like his mace, or flail rather, and they're kind of cool looking, I think. What else have we got? Oh, I've got some more Essex miniatures at the back there. So that's an Essex miniature sculpt, and as you can see, he's got a sort of a bit of an ugly head. He looks a bit sort of deformed and a bit sort of weird. So I thought I'd sort of bung them all together. They've all got sort of heavy armour on. They've all got, you know, sort of big weapons, like either sort of two-handed weapons or sort of a, you know, a sword and shield or axe and shield. This one's a armoured orc from Citadel, and he's got sort of a big mace. I figured if I just cover that skin tone with some necrotic flesh, I could sort of maybe get away with making him a Chaos Warrior. Now these are a lot cheaper than the other Chaos Warriors that I've been sort of collecting. They, all told, I think this entire regiment was probably only about, I'd say maybe £45, or maybe £50 tops, and that's pretty good for a regiment of 20 metal miniatures. So I think really that's that's quite a good sort of deal, especially if you're keen on sort of making a large scale army. Is look for those sort of other manufacturers, so sort of Essex Miniatures and Black Sun Miniatures and that sort of thing, and you'll be able to find some nice, pretty nice sculpts, I would say. Yeah, so that's all I've got for you today. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some of the miniatures I'm going to be using for my Barocca series, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. And today it's all about the Chaos Warriors again, because let's face it, it's a Chaos Army. And first of all, we have quite an old looking Chaos Sorcerer. He's part of one of the, I think it's Brian Ansell's Chaos Marauders. He's the sorcerer from that set, and he's sort of he's quite sort of ruddy faced, not quite complete yet. I just need to give him a good dunk in quick shade, but for the most part he's almost there. So there's the Chaos Sorcerer, who's going to be leading a group of evil Chaos Warriors. We have another one of the sort of, I guess, the sort of more plain Chaos Warriors. So he's got some nice sort of white robes. This unit is going to be sort of a white and black unit, so all of the loincloths and any sort of robes and things that they have, or capes, will be in white and sort of offset with sort of some muddy sort of textures and what have you. Here we've got a rather nice little goblin, armoured goblin, but as he's in sort of a heavy plate, I figured he'd make a good Chaos Warrior. Why not? Sod it. Let's use him. There's a bloke with a nice sort of hat on there. He's got a sort of I guess it's a hand or something coming out of his helmet there. And again, he's got a nice sort of white sort of dirty style cape. And I was asked a question in one of the previous videos about or rather than ask a question, I was told I've missed an opportunity to create some nice sort of effects on shields and things. Well, actually I haven't missed the opportunity. I'm actually waiting to complete the army in its entirety, so the collection as a whole, and then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going back, and before I put on the final coat of matte varnish, I'm going to edge the bases, and I'm going to put a little bit more detail onto each model. For instance, with capes and things, I'm going to do sort of patterns on the capes. I'm going to pick out details on the shields in different colours, and I'm going to sort of make the army a little bit more colourful, a bit more vibrant, just to sort of make it pop a little bit more. So yeah, to answer or to respond to that point, it's not over until the fat lady sings. And that's actually going to be sort of the best part, because I'll have the army completed in sort of I guess to a tabletop standard, what I would class as a tabletop standard, and then I'll go back in and hopefully raise that paint level up just a little bit with some key highlights. So I'll do edge highlighting on some of the armour pieces. I'll add sort of rust effects. I'll pick out detail on the bases, and then I'll also do patterns on armour and shields. And this guy here is he's going to be the standard bearer. So previously he did have, I believe, I think he had a spear or some sort of halberd, but it had broken off when it arrived in the mail. So what I did was I drilled out the hand, and what I'm going to do is I'll put in a steel pin or something, or you know, a strong sort of metal pin, and then I'll build sort of a nice banner for him to be holding. So that'll be a fun model. Yeah, maybe do a cool design on the front of the banner or something like that. that guy's got some nice sort of chainmail going on, sort of in a bit of a kind of a weird sort of stance, like a walking forward, swinging his axe sort of stance. Again, another shield that I can add some detail onto later. And finally, this guy who's got a sort of like a short spear, almost like a Spartan-like spear. So for these guys, all I did was I undercoated them with typhus corrosion, so it gives the model like this really nice texture all over, and it makes them look really grimy and really dirty. And then what I did was I just did a light dry brush of silver to pick out the sort of the raised details, and then I started picking out some of the other details. So for instance is sort of the leather shoes and the wood on the sort of the spear or javelin. And then once I've done a quick wash or a quick shade varnish on him, so that will protect the model, I'll then be able to do a pattern on the shield and maybe pick out some more of the armour pieces with a bit of edge highlighting, and of course do the base before I do the final matte varnish. Oh, actually no, tell a lie, this is the final one. He's got sort of a nice check pattern going on with his armour, and on the back there as well. Again, I've not been too, I mean I've been sort of as neat as I can be, but getting on a little bit now, so the eyes aren't really as good as they were, but I'm finding it pretty alright painting these guys. The detail isn't too super fine. It's not like the current really high detail models. I mean the lead models, they're very old, and you know the details are there, but you got to search for it sometimes. This is a sort of a separate to those blokes. This is another sorcerer that I've got. I really like this guy. He's really sort of dynamic, like he's casting a spell or something. I'm almost tempted to send this off to like a professional painter to get him painted up, as you know, to the best of their ability, just to see what they could do with it. Because I mean, I can paint him, but really I'm not a pro painter or anything. So maybe he's wasted on me. Maybe I need someone else to step up to the plate and give it a go. Yeah, it's a cool model though, very cool model. So that's sort of the next 9 guys that are going to be joining the Realms of Chaos army. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I'm going to be using for Barocca, or building a Realms of Chaos army. And today there's just a couple of things, well actually 3 or 4 things that I want to show you. So firstly is one of my hounds that I've been working on. And he's a funny sort of, almost like a turquoisey sort of colour, or sort of a blue colour, and really looks kind of fun. I'm looking forward to picking out sort of all the detail on his tail and stuff. It'll be quite a nice sort of model once it's finished. I actually painted this with an interesting, really high pigment paint. And it's from Game Colour. So yeah, it's a turquoise, and this stuff is like, I have no idea what I think this has got like Satan's blood in it or something. This paint does not mix with anything. You can't change it another colour at all. It just refuses to mix. The pigment is so strong that it just completely overpowers any other colour that you put it with. So I thought I'd try it as a sort of an undercoat for this little chap here. And it looks like it's gone on quite well. It doesn't sort of scratch off or anything. It seems to be quite tough. So what I'll do is I'll pick out all the detail, and then I'll give him a varnish as well, and he can be added to the added to the pile of finished models. The pile. I say it's a pile. It's more of a sort of a display at the moment on the table, as you can see. This guy's a sort of a random centaur that I got. He seems to have been lacquered, so he's all shiny and varnished. So what I might do is just sort of repaint his tail, repaint his weapon, and sort of just pick out some of the areas that have sort of slightly chipped off, and then I might just mount him on a base and be done with the guy. It's got a nice little model. I think Ralpather, 1986. So yeah, pretty old school. What else we got? We've got a drummer. This guy's from, I believe he's from Ralpather, Europe. I think he's part of the Chaos Imperium sort of team. He's a sort of a nice drummer. He's going to go quite well with my Chaos Warriors, I think, if we sort of stand him next to them. I mean, he's sort of the same sort of height as them, sort of a skinny sort of build as well. So I think he'll be quite good actually. And here's, for comparison, here's like the sorcerer he might be standing next to. So he's quite a good scale, I would say, compared to the others. What else we got? We've seen that wizard. I've got another centaur here that needs. This guy needs completely repainting because I have no idea what they tried to do with the skin tone on this guy. I don't think black is a very good colour to try and shade your models. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have worked very well. So I think that's probably going to need a full repaint. That guy looks a bit jazzy for my liking, I think. What else we got? I've got some fun bits here, some various sort of pieces from a Greater Demon of Nergal, Great and Clean one, that I'm going to be using for something or other soon, hopefully. So that'd be good. And then I've managed to varnish a lot of these Chaos Warriors as well. So it's a bit of a kind of a bitty video. I don't have anything specific that I sort of want to show you. I just thought I'd sort of show you a bit of a variety of stuff, really. Yeah, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I'm going to be using for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. And today we're going to be looking at my Great and Clean one, or my custom Great and Clean one. Now I love doing sort of Nergal models, as you may have already guessed, and this guy is going to be quite a nice sort of addition. I think he's going to be a fully custom Great and Clean one. He's got a few pieces from an original Great and Clean one, as you can see, and on the back there. So what I did with him was I super glued a great big dollop of Milliput onto his legs, and then I just screwed in a big flat screw into that to sort of build up the base for the body. And then I just started adding more stuff onto it. So I've done this part of the belly and the back and everything, as you can see, sort of in there. I've sort of tried to sculpt all the way in under his belly, and then I glued an old Great and Clean one's arm on. I had to clip the arm a little bit just to make it fit, so I'll need to sculpt a new sort of elbow for him, and then what I'll do is I'll sculpt his back. I'll have to sculpt another arm for him as well, just to sort of make him, you know, symmetrical. I'd quite like him to sort of be symmetrical. I think maybe rather than having an arm going up above his head or anything, I might make another arm coming round the front there, and then I'll sculpt a nice head. And I've got some pieces for some horns for him as well, some metal horns. I'm going to glue on. I've got a rather nice drummer, which I highlighted in a previous video. He wasn't sort of anywhere near complete. This guy is now almost complete. As you can see, he's got some nice check work on his armour there, so that's quite sort of old school, quite Realms of Chaosy. Now I've just got to pick out a few of the metal studs on the drum there, and then do his base as well. So that's quite a nice model. I found a couple old banners in my bits box, so I'm thinking I might try to repurpose these for maybe the Chaos Warriors. So here's the Chaos Warriors. What I hope is going to be the Chaos Warrior standard bearer. So I figured I could sort of maybe cut where his hand is, cut that piece of metal out, and then I can slot that in there, and voila, we have a pretty groovy standard bearer. I think that would be pretty nifty. It looks quite a badass sort of banner. If I just put the bloke down for a sec, and we sort of zoom in on the banner a little bit. Yeah, I think you might be able to make it out. It's like a picture of I guess it's death or something, or some sort of wraith. So that's a kind of a cool sort of glyph or sort of image to have on a banner, and it's a solid metal banner, so you know it's not going to deform or anything. So it's quite a nice nice little thing. Yeah, so that's potentially what I'm going to be up to. So yeah, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I'm going to be using for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. And today it's going to be a Basilisk. And it's not the Forge World Basilisk, it's something a little bit different from the Forge World Basilisk. It's a rather nice brass sculpture that I found in a flea market downtown today, and I managed to get it for a few quid. So you know, it's not broken the bank or anything. It's not like a Forge World. Well, I don't even know how much things on Forge World are these days. I'm guessing a Basilisk is about £35. Is that about right? No idea. Could be £70 for all I know. But yeah, he's quite a nice looking little chap. As you can see, he's got quite a lot of oxidation in his nooks and crannies. But he's a nice looking sort of thing, I suppose. I think I really just appreciated the shape of him. I think he looked pretty gnarly. So he's going to go on a chariot base, because he's quite long. So it's about that. There we go. So that's like a chariot size base. So he'll be quite a nice sort of addition to the army. He'll give them a bit of firepower, isn't it? Do basilisks, they spit sort of things or something? I have no idea about the rules. Yeah, but you know, cool model. So I figured it would be fun to add to the army. And I think I might, because he's a little bit a bit wobbly, as you can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of glue this right hand paw or hand or foot or whatever it is down, and then what I'll do is I think I'll build something up underneath him, so he's got something to sort of rest on, and then I'll build up some flock and stuff around his feet, so that because they're quite kind of thick, as you can see. So if I flock maybe halfway up that, just put loads of like sort of heavy concrete sort of stuff about halfway up that, it makes it look like it's a finer detail. It's not so sort of blocky, I suppose. Yeah, he's a wicked model. Just to give you an idea about sort of scale, here's like a minute, or sort of a regular size sort of miniature. So he's pretty big. Pretty groovy, I think. Yeah, so that's all I've got for you today, and be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at one of the miniatures I'm going to be using for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. And today it's another Minotaur. You thought it was going to be the pig. It's not the pig, it's another Minotaur. I'm going to leave the pig till another day. I think it's a Midland Minotaur. As you can see, it's quite a well detailed sculpt. I gave him some nice sort of detail in his sort of eye sockets and everything. Just sort of brighten them up with a bit of red, just to give him a sort of some beady eyes. And he's just been quick shaded, and as you can see, it's brought out his skin tones really quite nicely. He's looking pretty groovy, if you ask me. So he'll be a welcome addition to the Minotaur herd. So that's 3 Minotaurs on large bases complete, and 2 Minotaurs on sort of slightly smaller 40mm bases complete. Yeah, quite a nice model. He'll be easily ranked up with his buddy here. There's the pair of them. So this one's I painted in a necrotic flesh kind of colour, and this guy in more of a sort of a pallid sort of tone, I guess, more of a grey rather than a green or a yellow, which I think has kind of worked quite nicely. I mean, they'll look quite good when I finish this guy's base. I just need to edge his base a little bit around the edge with some black, but as sort of a team or a unit, I think they look quite nice together. I quite like the look of beastmen that are sort of different, not necessarily different colours, but maybe slightly different races and that sort of thing, all sort of ranked up together. I really like that. So sort of, I don't know, this guy's more of a sort of a gladiator type one, and this guy is more of a, I don't know if he's like he doesn't look quite as sort of big and bulky as this guy, so, and he's not got sort of as heavy armour either, so maybe sort of a more menial sort of labourer Minotaur compared to this guy. I don't know. Yeah, it's just a thought, I suppose. But yeah, they're pretty sweet. And of course I've got the Minotaur Lord there as well. So just to sort of compare him to the Minotaur Lord. I mean, they rank up pretty nicely in size. He's slightly, well, I say slightly, he's about a head shorter, I would imagine, if they sort of stood up straight. I particularly like the fact that the Lord has the old cloven hooves right instead of the human feet. So that makes him sort of, I guess that makes him more chaotic. Plus I painted him green as well, so they're quite groovy looking guys. If I sort of put them together as like a bit of a team, and we'll just move the camera back a little bit. I mean, that's a killer unit right there, isn't it? Absolutely killer. Nothing's getting through them. Cool. Yeah, so be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at some more of the miniatures I'm going to be using for Barocca, or Building a Realms of Chaos army. And today it's the barrel. So I've been working on this barrel for quite a while now. And no, it's not the barrel, it's the pig. Right. Right, the pig. Massive, great iron pig. I think he's cast iron, and I found him at the the garden centre. I think he's supposed to sort of live outside or be a doorstop or something or other. I'm not entirely sure. He's enormous and he's super heavy, as you can hear. Yeah, pretty heavy, and he's not going to be on this base because this base is a flimsy Games Workshop affair, and there's absolutely no way. Maybe 2 kilograms of iron will treat this with any respect. So what I've done is I've bought a few bases online. So they're 3mm thick MDF bases, and they're actually the same size as this. So he'll have a nice sort of big sort of scenic base. I'll maybe put some sort of slaves and stuff like walking along next to him. And I figured he'd be a cool sort of addition to the army. He's like, I imagine it's like a chaos dwarf sort of dark magic that has sort of animated him or something, similar to sort of the brass lion that I've got. So the brass lion over here, which is like absolutely puny in comparison to the mighty war pig. So yeah, brass lion, see you later. You go back over there, and we'll concentrate on the mega pig. So yeah, just to sort of give you an idea of what he sort of looks like. It's it's really simple, and I love the way he's just so heavy and solid. And he's heavy and solid because, well, I've actually gone and filled the void, because there's a sort of a casting void in his stomach. So I just filled it over with some old concretey stuff that was starting to dry out. I put just a load of bits of offcuts, plastic, metal, sorts of old bits that I don't need, just shoved them all in there as well. Put a load of PVA glue in there and let it set. And then I milliputted over the top, so that's actually it's not quite set yet. It'll probably take till tomorrow to actually set and harden through. And then what I'll do is I'll use the same sort of rusty effect over this. So what I'll do is I'll paint the whole lot silver, the whole thing, and then I'll go in with sort of different rust effects to sort of blend it all together and make it look as if it was always sort of supposed to be solid. And then we'll have a mighty war pig for the army as well. So I don't know what sort of rules I could use for the war pig. Maybe I could use it as some sort of like battering ram or something, or alternatively, my wife suggested I could use it to pull the Juggernaut along, which I thought was kind of crazy and cool. So we'll just have to zoom out a little bit on the old camera there. But yeah, that's all. I mean, that's pretty mental. So yeah, maybe the war pig could drag the Juggernaut along or something. So maybe if I put them both on similar size bases, they can rank up perfectly. I think that might be the way to go. Yeah. Yeah. Quite an interesting sort of idea, maybe. Yeah. So be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. Peace. Welcome back, Nerglings. Today we're going to be looking at my progress I've made in Barocca Series 2, or Building a Realms of Chaos Army. And as you can see, well, I've made quite a decent effort this time around. I've pretty much doubled, or even maybe tripled, the amount of models I've got in the army. So what did I complete in the first series? Well, let's have a look. So pointer stick at the ready. I completed these Chaos Knights. I completed this Beastmaster and his Hound. Two Minotaurs, this guy and this guy. The Minotaur Standard Bearer over Niar. The Dragon Ogre, this guy. These chaps over here with the baggage cart, and the unit of Chaos Warriors. So I did a reasonable amount. It wasn't, it wasn't earth-shattering, but it was a good attempt, a good first try, I suppose. But I really wanted to sort of give it another go and see if I could sort of squeeze a little bit more productivity out of the whole thing. So this time around, what have I completed? Well, namely Angrim Van Horseman. So he's going to be the leader, simply because he's on the fanciest creature in the army, which is sort of a long-legged elephant type thing, I suppose. 2 units of Chaos Warriors, so that's 2 units of 20, so that brings my total troops, sort of foot troops, up to 60, which is pretty cool. I aim to have 100 eventually, so 5 units of 20. This thing, the chariot, that got completed quite early on in this series. What else did I do? I did the Beastmaster and his brass lion. What else did I do? I've just recently finished the 3rd Minotaur to make that a unit of 3. And of course the Arse Cannon over Niar. And this this is one of my favourite models. It's a wacky fucking thing, and I think it's pretty cool. Just some odd, there's a few odd models you might be able to. There's a little bloke here who's a half goose, half man, and there's a goblin kicking around over there. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the progress I've made. What I'm going to do now is get all the miniatures that I've not painted together, and yeah, we'll be right back. Yep, so that's pretty much what I've got left to do for the stuff that's out of the boxes. I've also got another 60 Beastmen, of course the Juggernaut and the Pig. I'd like to probably give my giant Chaos Battering Ram a rebasing as well, so it's on a big rectangular base, so that I could use that for this army as well. What else do we have? I've got some sort of odds and sods, like sort of random sort of stuff, like this Minotaur, sort of randomly. Yeah, just like little bits and bobs. I need to get a few more ogres, and of course there's like a whole load of stuff that I haven't even attempted to glue onto any bases yet. So it just sort of gets out of hand, doesn't it? But yeah, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think of the project. Maybe what your favourite models were, what I could potentially do differently, maybe for uploading videos, or sort of scheduling videos, or videos. Painting, batch painting tips. If you think I might benefit from batch painting tips, because let's face it, there's still a long way to go before this army is anywhere near complete. I mean, just the stuff here is like, well, it's another whole 2 series worth of painting for me, I would imagine. So I mean, I might end up doing 5 or 6 series of this altogether to get the whole thing done, and it is going to take a while. Yeah, just let me know. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and as always, thanks very much for watching. Peace.